Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Right Now, your daily writing workout, and we're coming to the end of this 2-week writing frenzy. Every day we have the same structure but with a different theme and slightly different content. Today, our theme is two sides to the story. Two sides to the story. It took me a really long time to come up with today's theme. I was really mulling it over for a long time. But I'm working on a lot of historical content at the moment across the board in a lot of my projects. And it's made me think a lot about how history is archived and how very often it is just from one perspective, or the way we look at factual information as being fact when it is ultimately someone telling their side of the story. So I've become really obsessed with how, as writers, as narrators, we can undermine perceived positions of power and narratives, how we can formally present information in a way that makes it very clear that there's more than one perspective, how we can even disagree with ourselves as narrators of our own lives when we're writing autobiographical material, how we can inherently understand our characters as being unreliable, and how we treat lies and deception. So yeah, I'm just really fascinated by all those things at the moment. And our poem isn't from this book, but I just wanted to reference the book Olioo has really made me think about this. So Tyehimba Jess, who wrote this, he invented the Syncopated Sonnet, which is like a sonnet that interconnects with itself. Oh, I should have found it, shouldn't I, before? But this book deals with a lot of factual material in fictional ways. It addresses fact creatively. I can't find any. But he does a lot of stuff like this anyway, where you've got two sides and you can choose how you read it, but they intersect somehow. That might be close to a syncopated sonnet. He does a really good TED Talk on it that I would advise. This is a brilliant book. It's baptism of fire, but brilliant. But today, I want to read another poem by Hannah Silva, who you know is one of my favourites. So every day, I give you a prompt poem, which I post in my feed about an hour or more before I do these lives. We then do a 3-minute free write off the back of that poem. We then do 10 back-to-back speed poems. I give you some editing tips that you can choose to employ or not. And we take some communal breaths. Today, our prompt poem is by Hannah Silva, who I've used before, and one of my favourite poets and people. And Hannah works a lot with sound. She's a sound poet, and she works with a loop pedal a lot. So this is actually a poem that comes from a piece that is looped, but I really like the way that she's laid it out on the page and how that infers two sides or layers to a narrative. And I want us to explore that in the free write today. So I'm going to show it to you as I read it, so you can see what it looks like. I know that my face kind of infringes on some of it, but hopefully you get the idea. So this is from Total Man, and it's by Hannah Silva. And you can see it's got a bit of instruction at the beginning. It says, with soundscape using loop pedal, bold text equals the first layer. So I'm going to read it with those instructions. I face my own reflection. The right person magically has stepped out of my own life. Suppose my hand is my face. Suppose my hand has life, face, left. This person is hand. A person has my left hand. My reflection has life. I face my own image. My reflection has the right hand of a new person. Let us come to life, and magically, my real reflection has stepped out of a moment. I face my own life. Suppose my right hand is my real face. Suppose my left hand has come to life. Face my left hand. This new person is my real left hand. A real person has stepped out of my left hand. The reflection has become my life. What do you want? So it might have taken you a while to work out how I read that. So I'll read it one more time because it's relatively short. So you'll see I'm reading the bold first, then I'm reading the bold with the other words, so that the poem has 2 layers. I face my own image. Oh, sorry, read that wrong. Being dyslexic, there you go. I face my own reflection. The right person magically has stepped out of my own life. Suppose my hand is my face. Suppose my hand has life. Face, left this person is hand. A person has my left hand. My reflection has life. I face my own image. My reflection has the right hand of a new person. Let us come to life, and magically, my real reflection has stepped out of a moment. I face my own life. Suppose my right hand is my real face. Suppose my left hand has come to life. Face my left hand. This new person is my real left hand. A real person has stepped out of my left hand. My reflection has become my life. What do you want? Cool. So that was our prompt poem for today. And I'm gonna slightly-ish, Riyadh, if you're writing poems, I'm gonna get gassed. Continuing. So we're gonna slightly, my brain hurts a bit too, that's why I read it twice. Today I'm going to do our 3-minute free write kind of in 2 layers. So I'll give you 3 minutes, but I want us to think about this form. So for those of you that have never free written before, if this feels like too much, just free write, which is write as freely as possible and don't stop for the full 3 minutes. If you feel like it's too much, this next layer I'm going to give you. If you've been here a while and want to challenge yourself, this is going to be a challenge for me too. We're going to spend the first 90 seconds just writing a very thin poem down the side. So if you imagine, it's like this bold bit along the left section, we're going to write that bit. Then in your next 90 seconds, you're going to start filling in the other side of the story. The stuff on the right-hand side that isn't in bold. If you're like, my brain hurts, I can't even imagine doing that, ignore me. Just free write in response to what you've just heard for the next 3 minutes. I might leave that up just in case you get confused. But do let me know if you have any questions while I set the timer. It'll be quite hard for me to read the questions, but cool. Okay, so your first half of your 3 minutes for this free write starts. My time has gone crazy. Now, let's go. Oh, this is quite exciting because I haven't written the other half yet. Okay, your next 90 seconds starts now. You're going to write the other half of the story. Let's go. Okay, I have got nowhere near the end of the other half of the story. But that was, I've never done that exercise before, just invented it this morning. It hurt my brain, but it was also very challenging in a way that felt nice, actually. I hope that felt okay. I hope you're all alright. I feel like I chucked you in quite a high tier level there. We're going to go on to our speed poems now. So 10 back-to-back, I say poems, could be pieces of something. This is an exercise inspired by the amazing Roger Robinson, who first did this exercise with me, which really helped me just stop thinking I couldn't write. I feel like before this exercise, I probably believed in writer's block. After this exercise, I didn't. I know people that don't have the use of their hands and still write. Yeah, I feel like some added editing homework is finishing that poem that we just, or piece that we just started, right? I'm definitely going to do that exercise for myself as well. Sorry, 10 back-to-back speed poems. Shit your way to greatness, as Bogdan Piasecki would say. Sorry, Mum, who watches these. She must get annoyed every time I say that phrase, but it's a really, really helpful phrase. It's a helpful phrase. So the way it works is I give you a title. You then have 1 minute to write 6 lines under that title. You have to write 6 lines. Don't give yourself any other option. I don't care if it doesn't make sense. I don't care if it's spelt wrong. I don't care if it's the same word over and over again 6 times. The weirder, wackier, and the further into the deep, dark, dusty corners of the attic of your mind, the better, okay, for this. If you want to give yourself an extra challenge, loop them all in together to make one long 60-line something. I tend to call them poems, but they can be bits of dialogue, they can be bits of prose, they can be bits of song, whatever your medium is. I know a lot of people are using these sessions to work into ideas they already have and projects already working on, so that's totally great to have you in the house. Extra challenge is a little tool that I have that I'm going to share with you. So sometimes I do this thing when I'm writing in terms of like the other side of the story. When I'm free writing, I'll use the word yes or I'll use the word no. The word no in this is particularly interesting because you're writing so freely, you're not even really thinking, it's just coming out. I might say, the dog smelled like chips. Or the dog smelled like chips. No. The dog smelled like salt and vinegar. No. The dog smelled like rocks. No. The dog smelled like my dad's feet on a Wednesday. Yes. The dog bit my dad's feet on a Wednesday. No. It's just a way to get into a pattern of like redirecting yourself. And also it, as a device in terms of a narrator, it immediately undermines narration and makes us aware that a narrator can be fallible, which audiences or we sometimes don't acknowledge. Seems even historians don't acknowledge it from my research. So yeah, just try this technique of whenever you're stuck, try saying no. Or maybe if you're flowing, try saying no, try saying yes, redirect yourself. Hopefully that makes sense. If you're new to this and you're like, Deborah, that's way too much, that's fine. Just write a 6-line something every time I give you a title. Any questions? Now's your chance. You can tell I'm feeling better, innit? I'm sounding a bit chirpier. I think so anyway, though albeit congested. Today, all the titles are from my own writing that I've been doing in these sessions. And if you just jumped in, pick up your writing utensils. Your first title, is it going really bright again? Yeah. Your first title is An Incredible Thing to Survive. An Incredible Thing to Survive is your first title. You've got 1 minute to write 6 lines of something now. Okay, I'm enjoying this. The next title is Tighter and Tighter. Tighter and Tighter. You've got 1 minute starting now. Okay, you just jumped in, still time to write plenty of stuff. Your next title is Homesick Convict. I love a good rhyme. Homesick Convict is your next title. You've got 1 minute to write 6 lines of something starting now. Okay, your next title is just 1 word, 1 syllable, mud. Mud is your next title, and your 1 minute starts now. Okay, your next title is Onto the Spikes. Onto the Spikes. And your 1 minute starts now. Okay, we're halfway now. Your next title is Use a Bucket. Use a Bucket is your next title, and your 1 minute starts now. Okay, your next title is Into Her Hands. Into Her Hands. And your 1 minute starts now. Into Her Hands. Okay, 3 more to go. Lean into the disruption. Lying or writing, question mark. Lying or writing, question mark, is your next title, and your 1 minute starts now. Let's go. Okay, your penultimate title is Alpha Weakness. Alpha, like Alpha and Omega. Alpha Weakness is your next title, and your 1 minute starts now. Okay, your final title is just one word, ripped. Ripped is your final title. You've got 1 minute to write 6 lines with the title, ripped. Let's go. Okay. The time is up. Our time is up. Wow, today was the first day it felt like I hit some level of flow. Like, I mean, lots of what I wrote was terrible, but yeah, it felt like it was coming from somewhere above me, which is always a nice feeling. So yeah, editing homework. Maybe return to that initial free write and finish the other half of the story. Hannah's poem is in my feed and also online if you want to use that as a reference point. If you keep the whole form very influenced by her, just make sure you mention under the title that it's influenced or inspired or after her. Some other editing homework. If you're struggling with a piece, why not go back to it and say, how can I formally present another half of the story to this? Maybe you take Hannah's technique and reference her. Maybe you, if you want to be a real geek, maybe you go and look up Tyehimba Jess's TED Talk on syncopated sonnets. Maybe you try and write one of those. Like, that is high-level geekery because not even I have tried that. Maybe you invent your own form that presents 2 sides of the story, because that's how all forms begin, right? Someone has an idea of something that will structurally represent the idea they are trying to present. It doesn't always have to be in the words themselves. Sometimes it's in how we choose to present them. And that can implicitly show that there are 2 sides to the story. Cool. Shall we take some breaths? Feet planted on the floor. We're going to do 4 breaths in the nose and out of the mouth. And I just want you to take a little soft stretch, whatever feels like needs stretching. My neck is really tight because I've been so sick and I've been sleeping really bad. So I'm just going to do some neck rolls. I'll probably turn into the moon as I do them. Feel free to do that as well if you want. But just try and feel the breath and have a little stretch. Yeah, so we're going to go in. And out. In. And out. In. And out. And in. And out. Wicked. Thank you so much for joining me today. These are going to go on until Sunday. Same time, same place every day. Thank you so much for joining me, for inviting other people. I'll put it on my feed as always as a little resource. Yeah, have a great day and I'll see you tomorrow.